I'd like to call the meeting to order. The Board of Leavenworth County Commission would like to invite everyone to stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to start with a moment of silence. Before we do the roll call, I'd like to welcome the new commissioners, Chad Shimke from the 4th District and Mike Stevens, who's going to be representing the 5th District. So we'll start roll call with Commissioner Stevens. Here. Commissioner Shimke.
Here.
Commissioner Cos.
Here.
Commissioner Culverson.
Here.
And Commissioner Smith is here. We'd like to open up with public comment. Anyone from the public wishing to comment, please come forward and state your name and address.
Good morning. My name is Jeanette Labby-Holderman. I live in Lansing, Kansas, and I'm here today. It's a very exciting day for me personally because we now have 5 county commissioners. And I want to thank both Mike and Chad, who I've got to know during this process, very much for running. Thank you very much for doing that. We're very excited that you're representing a much broader population of the county. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Larry Pinkerton. I am the American Red Cross in this county. And what I'm here for today is to let everybody know that we are here. We are active in Leavenworth County. My counterpart and I are working on building a team of Red Cross volunteers here to maintain the humanitarian relief efforts in the Leavenworth County area. We do not have a chapter here, but we do have a group, and we call ourselves the Tribe. We are active. We're doing everything we can to get more volunteers in Leavenworth. Up until recently, I think we had probably 7 volunteers in the county. We fall under Kansas City, Missouri and St. Joseph, Missouri chapters, but we are active here, and my main goal last night and today is to let you know that we are here. We have meetings every first Thursday of the month at the Chamber of Commerce at 10 o'clock in the morning, where we touch up on plans we have for seeking volunteers and training people on how to be volunteers with the American Red Cross. And that's all I have for today.
Okay, you said the first Thursday of the month at 10 o'clock at the Chamber in Leavenworth?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for your service.
My name is Bill Leckler on famous 219th Street. Welcome new members. For the sake of expediency of time, just give me a date when we can expect chip and seal on 219. Just a date, nothing else, just a date.
We'll be discussing roads here when we award, if we award the first phase. And I had some documents that we had approved in January of 2018, or 2019, January 18, 2019 on these roads. And I plan on bringing that up when we talk about phase 1.
I heard that little 2-letter word if.
Well, I don't know how the board's going to vote.
I thought it was already decided.
Well, we still got to vote on it. We've added 2 members since we decided. And actually we're approving what we're voting on today, whether we're going to approve the bid or not from the contractor. Okay. So. Okay. Got her this far, Bill.
And thank you for all you did.
Closer than you've ever been. I know close doesn't count. But anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Move on to administrative business. Mr. Lawfrey.
A couple items I wanted to bring up today. The first one listed on your agenda, the comp time policy change. Annually, we review the policies of the county, the personnel manual, and bring recommended changes to the board. We're working on those changes right now, but we do have one that's coming up that I'll be bringing forward a little sooner because of the payroll software changeover. And one of the things we identified were some challenges with our comp time plan, the way we use it right now. And for those who don't know comp time, because only governments are allowed to use comp time, instead of paying time and a half for overtime, you can award time off called comp time at the same rate. I've discussed it with the department heads. We believe that we can work through it without using comp time going forward. I think it's better for the county to pay it as it's earned, just to pay it out, versus trying to compensate the time off later. And when you have employees who earn at maybe the maximum rate of our vacation time already, and then you add another 80 hours of comp time on top of that, it makes it hard to schedule that time off for employees. And it's just simpler for us to pay it out. They, again, have talked to the departments, and we believe we can make that work for us, and I'll be bringing that policy forward next week for your consideration. I just want to give you a heads up now in case you have questions over this week or next week about how that works or what the policy is going to be. The other item I wanted to bring up for you is the work sessions. We have several of them that were discussed over the last couple of months being added. I'll have that at the end of this meeting. I just didn't want you guys to think I forgot about it. But because there's so many of them, I'll wait until we get to the end of this meeting under our discussion items to cover them.
Any business?
Yep, none at this time.
Okay. All right. Has commissioners had a chance to look at everything that was on the consent agenda? Any questions or concerns of the consent agenda?
I just wanted to bring up one thing about the minutes from last week when we talked about the spring cleanup and allowing residents to have a one-time free visit to the county dump.
Yes, sir.
I've had a couple questions since then. I guess we did make it clear that, does that include city residents also?
Anybody who's a resident of the county, of Leavenworth County, so yes, city residents would be included.
That's what I just wanted to mention.
Now this would
that.
I know some of the cities do their own cleanup.
Right.
That's not going to be outside of that. They don't get the city cleanup and the county cleanup. They would just get the one visit.
Okay. That's why I just want to make sure everybody knew that.
Okay. Any other questions?
Nope.
And I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the consent agenda? Voting?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Okay. All right. Are we ready to move forward on the funding request from Lansing DECA? All right. And who would be presenting that?
So, hi, my name is Brooke Smith.
I'm Samantha Hunsaker, and today we're here to talk to you about Lansing DECA and our request for funds for our nationals trip.
So if you Google DECA, the definition provided is DECA is an organization that prepares emerging leaders in fields such as management, marketing, hospitality, and finance. But in my personal opinion, DECA is so much more. DECA prepares students with social etiquette, professional attire, organizational skills, time management, and so much more. So it's giving students real life experiences.
So
Let me take a guess. DECA is distributive ed clubs?
Distributive education clubs across America, yes, sir.
Okay.
So within Lansing DECA, we had 13 national qualifiers, including ourselves, at our state competition last month. And we'll be traveling to Orlando, Florida on April 27th for the nationals competition. And the total cost for each person to go is about $1,100.
With an immense cost like this, we do host some of our own fundraisers. We have car hops at Sonic's, we sell chocolate bars at Dilla's, and if you wander around the building, you may see some of those chocolate boxes here. We also put on the Teacher Prom Court, where we help teachers be able to win the title of Teacher Prom King or Teacher Prom Queen.
So we need your assistance because the total accumulated cost for all members and advisors to go is just above $16,000. And this cost will cover the hotel, the airfare, registration costs, and transportation fees when we get there. And so we've come to you to ask for $1,600 to cover our registration fees for the competition.
And one thing I want to remind you of, you're not only investing in this trip, you're investing in these students' futures. So with our 13 national qualifiers going, I believe our group will have a tremendous impact. With the people attending the leadership academies that advance their knowledge in DECA and real life experiences, they will be able to help lead others to success. And with the students competing in the project-based presentation, which is they find a local business and they implement a plan of change to help improve that quality of the business and customer satisfaction levels. The people competing in role plays will be able to improve their public speaking skills and their problem solving skills and be able to gain more creative problem solving skills. So you're investing in these kids and their knowledge and real life experiences of getting them to further advance in life.
Okay. I guess I got a question for the clerk. Does this fall under the Leavenworth County City's drug and alcohol money?
No, I don't believe that this would fall under that, but we have given to DECA programs before in the past, and it has come from the BOCC contributions, which we do a lot each year during the budget process, money that the board can determine where they would like those funds to be distributed.
Okay. Are you aware of any other DECA clubs in the county, of school districts in the county that are going to be attending this also?
Currently, I'm not aware of any. At least no other school has come forward with the funding. In the past, we have given to Lansing, and we've also given to Leavenworth High. We have not been currently approached by Leavenworth High School, nor Pleasant Ridge, or Tonganoxie, Baser, so.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Have you girls you've raised all the rest of the money?
We are still in the process of fundraising. We've done individual fundraisers like the chocolate bar sales. We have a car hop next week at Sonic. And then we are today collecting money for Teacher Prom Court to distribute. So we've had some down payments due, but most of the students so far only need a couple $100 left before they're fully funded.
Okay. Any other questions of these young ladies?
No, I would just say it's one, give you a lot of credit to come and approach us, and the fact that you were able to deliver all of that without a screen is pretty impressive for a keyboard these days. So I think whatever you're doing, it's obviously working, so well done.
Thank you.
So is that a motion?
Well, I was going to say, since it's Lansing.
That's right.
Yeah, I guess I'd like to officially make a motion to approve the funding request for the Lansing DECA not to exceed $1,600.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Voting?
Aye.
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 All right. Thank you for coming.
Much.
Ladies.
Are we ready for Mr. Marlboro?
It's going to be hard to follow that up later.
That's going to be a hard act to follow.
You should see if you could get them to ask for your money
Can
later.
I ask for,
Yeah, you might contract them out.
I'm asking for more than 1,600.
I know.
No, I
Good
thought-
morning.
That was transposed numbers.
I didn't know he was asking. I thought he was saying, I gotta have this.
Well, that's true. I'm not really asking for money after all. I have the funds. What I come before you for is an Exchange server project which serves the email, calendar, contacts for all county offices and district court. The current server is several years old. It's time to replace it. I have the funds and depreciation to do so, but purchasing policy dictates I come before the board before I do this. My recommendation is to split these purchases by hardware and software. So I have two different companies I recommend we award this to. The hardware, I'm suggesting we go with Converge One, which was formerly Alexander Open Systems. The software, the low bid, was CDW. The lion's share of the expense is the actual software. Exchange server is expensive. So $33,000 is the licensing for the Exchange software. The other amount is for the servers, the equipment, the necessary hardware to prop it up on. So my total request is for $61,227.89, which covers the full expense. My recommendation is to award the hardware to Converge One in an amount of $19,461.32, and to CDWG for the software in an amount of $33,766.57. Do you have some questions for me on this project?
Commissioners have any questions? Mr. Marlboro?
You had all the, these funds are in your depreciation account?
Yes. Well, we officially call it equipment reserve now, I believe, but it's 115 money, yes, sir.
Okay.
And the way the bid was presented, it's okay to split this?
These were all contract prices, like National IPA, WISCA.
Okay.
So it complies with our bidding process,
Okay.
with the exception of the installation fee, which was an amount estimated at $8,000. We're doing that as a time and services estimate. So the number of hours it takes for Converge One to assist us, it'll probably be less than 8, but 8 was the estimate.
I just had two quick questions. One was, is there not a either larger resource or vendor that does either county, state type, either vendor relationships? We'll see a little bit later on. There's an entity that actually has a contract with the state, right? So you get preferred pricing. Is there nothing like that that exists?
For instance, SHI, is that what you're referring to, like Software House International, which has a state contract for pricing as well?
Right. I mean, I was just kind of curious.
They do have state contracts on a lot of different equipment. These prices aren't state of Kansas contracts. Some of them are GSA.
Okay.
So we go with the lowest contract pricing we can find. CDW was the lowest by and large. But a lot of these companies, they have contracts everywhere. And the state of Kansas has contracts with a lot of different companies for the same product, so they all meet the same benchmark.
Okay.
It's kind of become a little less effective than it once was because they all come in at that same base level.
And then the other one was specific to the server. I'm assuming you've looked at, and maybe just could educate us. So when you think about cloud, what you have to host and maintain locally.
Are you familiar with Office 365?
Uh-huh.
We've looked at Office 365 a couple of years ago. Compared to this, it's very expensive. We would spend more than this amount each year to outfit the entire county with Office 365.
So you guys have already done that?
We've analyzed it. And
Okay.
Yeah, we've gone to several
Exercise.
Microsoft events to learn more about it, and the licensing structure gets really expensive, and it is a yearly fee. So this
And
is
by
still,
user, right?
By user, correct. So this is still more cost effective for us. It also gives us some other pros that you don't have with the Office 365 environment. Both have pros and cons. Office 365 is a wonderful product, and we do use it for some limited purposes with the county attorney and district court right now, mostly for the SharePoint online that it offers. But as far as messaging goes, the Office 365 has been cost prohibitive to us, so I've never brought it before the board.
Okay.
I have a question. What's the lifespan, like once we make this improvement, how long until you're going to have to?
Well, Microsoft is going to drive it to some extent. However, our current Exchange server we put online in 2011, so it's already 8 years old. So we estimate we'll get at least 6-7 years at a minimum before it will become obsolete. The reason for this replacement is the Exchange 2010, which we're running now, is being deemed obsolete. So we're being compelled to upgrade, which is the standard in all these things. For instance, Windows 7 is going to be obsolete in January of 2010. So when Microsoft decides we're no longer going to support a product, no more security patches, you get left to the wind. So we don't want to get left to the wind on something such as the mail server because it is critical to everyone. So I estimate we'll get at least 7.
Any other questions, Mr. Marlboro?
No, I was just going to say, I think what Chad's referring to is years ago, the state did go in and try to set up an account for saving county and cities money for programs like this, but over the years, so many different applications and software and hardware came out, they couldn't really keep a handle on that anymore. So now pretty much each company that's out there offers, just a discount for a county or a city. So
Right.
they tried to address that years ago, and it just kind of got away from them.
It's just a procurement contract.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to readdress your Office 365, and you're probably already aware, but the state of Kansas is largely Office 365 across the board. So it is a very popular platform. We just can't afford it.
Okay.
Any other questions? And I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we accept or approve the bid for. Get that number on it here.
Yeah, recommended and recommended.
Total expense is $61,227.89, about midway down on the second page.
Okay. I recommend we approve IS department make the purchase of $61,227.89.
Have a motion, to have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Voting?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Believe we're ready for Council on Aging. Purchase of a couple vehicles. I'm glad to see you upgrading your vehicles. I think we went several years without going through this process.
We did, yes. Good morning, Commissioners. The reason I'm here is to ask your permission to access our memorial account. That account is made up of donations and memorials from people, and we only access it when we feel that it is a very worthy cause. And I think the people that have contributed would, these vehicles are for the Meals on Wheels, and they would greatly approve of that. So we're asking to purchase 2 small compact SUVs.
Do you have any questions of Linda on this?
I have a question. This isn't really about your vehicle purchase, but can you kind of update us on what your plan is for down in Linwood?
Well, they're still working on I talked to them probably about 2 weeks ago. Because of the weather, they haven't been able to do the roof like they would like, so they're in the process of that, and the bathrooms, and so I'm thinking it probably will be June or July.
Okay.
That's what being done with the $90,000 this board approved to go to Linwood for the community building. So, anyways, our local dealers just couldn't come close, huh, on these vehicles?
They were over the 5%.
Right. That's too bad. I really like to see local, but we have a purchasing policy and didn't make the 5%. So any questions of Linda? Now I entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the request from, I'm going to look for the amount here. The Council on Aging in the amount of $60,531. Is that correct? No?
It's 40.
It's 40,000. They did purchase one vehicle already.
All right, sorry about that. There it is. In the amount of $40,354 from the Council on Aging Memorial Account.
Have a motion, do I have a second? Second. Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the vehicle purchases?
I had a little.
Yes, sir.
When I looked at the amounts, I was trying every which way to figure out how we could spend money local, because I'd rather spend money local.
Yeah, I know.
But is 5% in writing what our...
Yes. 5% is the percentage that we put in place for any local business.
Okay, because this was about, I think, 13% difference, the local. So I just wanted to point that out, that I always would like to spend money in town first, but we've got the 5% rule, so.
Well, this is another item that, Linda used the state contract.
I was just going to ask on the policy, so I see the one local bid. Were there other local bids? So we've got a few other dealerships in town, so.
And they did solicit from we solicited from all the locals and then also advertise it, and only one local vendor even responded.
Okay.
And, they have access to that state contract as well. So I think sometimes they'll go and look at what the state bid is, and then if they can't touch it, they don't even respond to our request. But
we really do try to buy local.
Yeah. I think one of the things that happens, though, is that when they're serviced, they usually go to the local
for warranty work.
For warranty work done. So that's where some of the money is. A lot of the money is made by the dealerships. So.
Sure. All right, any further discussion? Voting?
Aye.
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 Could
And
I also get
leave
a,
without the,
I'd also like your permission to, the two that we're going to get rid of,
Right.
to put that on Purple Wave.
yeah, we need to surplus the
Okay.
2 vehicles we're getting rid of.
I just thought that was our policy to dispose surplus property.
Yeah, I think the board has to identify that it's surplus to let us sell it.
So I'll make a motion that we allow Council on Aging dispose of the other old 2 vehicles on Purple Wave.
The 2002 Chevy Blazer,
And the-
what's the other one?
2008 Uplander.
Uplander.
I remember that Blazer when it had the new car smell. It was been through 3 departments, planning and zoning, public works, and now you. So I think it's time to get rid of it.
And we did have a small compact that's coming, that was budgeted for this in transportation. We would also like to dispose of that.
Okay.
So amend my motion and also, what was that?
The vehicle that's going to come from the transportation department also.
What is it? It's a,
It's-
We'll have to bring
it's-
that, we'll have to bring that back so you have the information. We'll want to make sure we get
Okay.
that for you.
All right,
Okay.
so your motion stands, good.
okay, yeah.
I'll second.
All right. Got a motion and second. Any further discussion on the surplus vehicles? Going to Purple Wave? None. Voting?
Aye.
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 And we can't let you leave without the plug for the April 26th, Friday night, 5:30, Church of the Open Door, 20th Street,
That's right.
$20.
$20. We got some very nice things. People have been very generous again, so we have some
Okay,
very
now
nice
everybody
things.
should know that the Church of the Open Door will be able to handle your massive crowds. Is that correct?
And you probably need to buy your tickets in advance, because there may not be any at the door. We're not sure, but, you know, we ran
Okay.
out of tickets.
I know. I fell in that category one year.
Yeah.
I was turned away.
That's a good thing, though.
I
They
know,
haven't turned
I
people
know.
away.
but Like I said, I think the church will be able to handle the crowd.
Yeah, they built a new wing on.
Right.
So,
It's
Plenty
very
of
nice.
parking.
All right.
Thank
April
you very much.
26th, right? Did I get that right? Did I get the time
26th.
right?
That's right.
Did I get the price right? $20 for
You got it-
adults,
you got it
$10?
all right.
All right. I just need to get I just need to get there and buy my tickets. Okay, where do we buy tickets now?
You can go to Sunflower Sisters.
Sunflower Sisters,
To our office in Candle Point.
Candle
Oh,
Point,
and Lawyer Title. Howdy.
Lawyer
Lansing.
Title, and that's Lansing area?
Premier.
premier title.
Okay, all right, we got it covered then. Okay,
I assume all funds, any Purple Wave auction go directly back to that department?
equipment reserve,
No.
One big fund.
yeah, it goes equipment
Okay.
reserve. All right, we're ready for Public Works.
Before we begin the discussion of this, although I have no financial gain or benefit from Lexico, no ownership, I'm going to recuse myself from this discussion, and I can return
Okay,
once the decisions are made.
okay. And
Thank
we'll have
you.
Becky come and get you before we close the meeting.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, Keith.
Or either way.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mike Zwickelmeyer. I'm the Public Works Director. It's good to meet our new commissioners. And we're here to present the bids for the Group 1 of the dust abatement program. I also have with us today the engineer that designed it, Schlegel & Associates, Mark Brewer, and the contractor that is the current low bid from Lexicon. So this was the first of the dust abatement projects that are scheduled for bid in 2019. And this group includes 174th Street, Kansas to Metro, Kansas Avenue, 166 to 178th, 166 Cantrell to Metro, and Stillwell Road, 158th to 170th. Under the county purchasing policy, we advertised. We actually put it on Drexel so that all the contractors locally, regionally can see that and offer bids. And the bids that we received are shown as follows. We have Lexico, McEnany, and Kansas Heavy Constructors out of Tonganoxie. The low bids on both the base bid, which is for a chip seal solution, and the alternate bid, which is for a full asphalt solution, are shown below. It is our recommendation to award the low bid for the asphalt alternative from the Leavenworth Excavation and Equipment Company in the amount of $1,916,477.09 and authorize the chairman to sign the contract. We do have some additional discussion that we'd like to bring forward about some sections and other things. But our first priority would be to award the bid alternate as shown.
Any questions of Mr. Spickmeyer?
Question for you. On 166th Street, the traffic count on south of Metro, what did you find as far as your traffic? I mean, how did you make that judgment of where to stop?
Mr. Spickmeyer's only been in this seat for about 3 weeks, so it wasn't really him.
Because I know there's a lot of people on that 166th on south have real issues with dust.
I think issues with dust is probably common throughout. We do a traffic count every year. We don't count all the roads every year, but we do traffic counts every summer. It's typically one of the projects our intern focuses on. So we have probably traffic count data back until like 2004, 2006. I can surely find that information. As a matter of fact, a lot of that information used to be kept on the public GIS side so people could actually see the traffic counts. But Commissioner, I can brought my notebook, so I'm going to take these notes.
Well, I appreciate you doing that. I mean, we need to go ahead with this. This is great. But I know if the traffic count is there on south, I know those people, would appreciate your consideration.
Well, and I think one thing we need to understand is the priority, is based upon a number of factors. And then something we're going to get into, after the bids on this one is talk about our capital improvement process and the way we go about selecting candidates for projects and such as that. So,
is one of the criteria aside from traffic count is the growth of that part of the county to growth?
We always take into consideration numerous, traffic counts is just one. There's also density, condition of roadway, and of course growth. We want to, anytime we do a project, we need to be looking to the future because a roadway improvement is not a 5-year, 10-year, 20-year. It's 20 and beyond. So.
Okay. Well, I know that I went to almost every house along 166 down there, and that's a very big concern of theirs. So I appreciate that information.
Absolutely. Be happy to get that to you.
Commissioner, we do have a development fee now when somebody does develop a piece of property that will help fund some of these projects.
Are you talking about the $13.50 a square foot?
No. That's the dust abatement program. That was this year's price, and that changes. But say somebody comes in and develops a piece of property, they're going to have to pay a development fee.
Right.
So right now we're running on RIF and TIF and sales tax money.
I think the new road program that we put in place with the development impact fees and the road improvement fees really encourage the developer to come in and make improvements to the road when they do the development, because then they don't have to pay that fee, and it makes their lots worth or easier to sell.
Yeah, they can do the road, or they
so I think that policy is really going to encourage. It also gives them the opportunity to recoup some of that cost. If after they improve the road, somebody else develops along that road, they can recoup some of their fees as well. So I think that's going to help. But when we prioritized these projects, it was something that came to the board several times actually. The board reviewed it and approved it. That's what we put out for the deficiency review. And traffic patterns, changes in traffic patterns, growth, future growth in the area, current traffic counts, anything that has changed in that area is taken into consideration. We would love to be able to do all of the roads, but at 400 miles, we have to prioritize and move forward. So this is a really good start. This first group has a little over 6 miles in it, and all total, I think for the year, we're pushing 18 miles for the next 2 phases when we add them all up. Then we have 3 phases after that that are also designed or under the process of being reviewed. So more roads than we've ever done in the past, and that's the goal.
Yeah, this is a great start. People are really going to appreciate it. This is some really important roads.
And
The other
you get
thing
to
that-
take the credit for it, for just stepping in and all of a sudden the roads get paid.
The other thing that can be taken advantage of is as we build these roads that then become the improved surfaces, the dust abatement policy, which you mentioned a minute ago, at the 1350 a linear foot, more people are now eligible to take advantage of that because so they can come in, pay the 1350 or put it on their taxes over 5 years, and then connect to an existing surface, which then we pick up the maintenance on. So that's another program that we just implemented in the last year that I think it will, we've already seen some activity on there. I'm not sure how many applications we've had. Do you know?
We've had 4 applications, I believe, to add that fee onto their taxes for 5 years. We do that at interest-free for them, and we can put it on one person, we can put it on, if several people sign up for that program, we just do it by frontage, right directly to their tax statement.
So, I mean, those are all programs that we've done in the last few years that will help us expand the paved or improved road within Leavenworth County.
Mike? Oh, go ahead.
I just had a couple things. Commissioner Stephen, if you want to see traffic counts on my our GIS map, we've got all the traffic counts on there. It's a layer. You just pull up the map, turn it on, and it gives you all the traffic counts for all the roads.
That guy retired, didn't he?
Yeah.
They're still counting.
The other thing is what a lot of people don't think about is when you look at those traffic counts, you got to remember too that that's because it's a gravel road a lot of times. So for instance, County Road 30 only has 300 cars a day on it now. But if we paved County Road 30, it would have 2,000 cars a day.
Mm-hmm.
So, you got to take that
We did
into
that on
consideration
Kansas
too.
Avenue off of County Road 2 over to Bonner area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was like 400 and went to 1,200.
Yeah.
We created a monster is what we did.
And so I just wanted to point that out because a lot of times when we're figuring out which roads we're going to do next, it's not just black and white high traffic count, because once you change it to hard surface, that could completely change the ball game. So,
Unintended consequences.
yeah.
Well, the County Road 30, which I think we agree needs to be finished, is a county route, so it's eligible for some funding in some other areas where these are local service roads. It's going to have to be done with either RIF, TIF, sales tax
Township
money, development fees. And,
Yeah.
So,
Mike, this may be better saved, I guess, per the kind of priority or process discussion you want to have. But 2 questions I had were, from a priority perspective, I know there's a number of elements we're looking at, and the traffic count is one of them. I was curious about kind of the logistical approach. So if you have a really high traffic count road, maybe there is 1 or 2 other roads nearby. So I'm just getting into the logistics and cost of mobilizing. Do we look at maybe doing 1 or 2 other projects in that same area, even though the traffic counts may be lower? Maybe they're in a much later phase, but it'll obviously save us money because we already have the contractors in the area or on site.
we actually did one last summer, Hollingsworth Road. The contractor was there on 147th Street, and we just done a change order in the contract, and they did Hollingsworth Road.
So is that a one-off, or we're typically doing?
No, we always want to look at the most cost-effective solution as well. We have to balance, we have to balance the needs of the crews that are doing the work, and a lot of times it is the most cost-effective solution. If you've got a contractor already mobilized in an area, you're going to save some money by being able to remobilize them, and they might be able to give you a more advantageous price. And so we absolutely look at that in any situation. We want to be stewards of the taxpayer money as effectively can, because, and the bottom line from a public works perspective or from a road maintenance perspective is, if it saves us money this year, that's more money that we could use to do more improvements and or maintenance the next year. So.
The second one I had was just, given the winter we had, I think Jeff probably has had more phone calls than anybody, it sounds like, at least the meetings I've attended. There's been some integrity questions or issues on even some of the newer roads. So I guess my question is, have we thought about or had any dialogue how we're going to approach some of these roads? Let's assume all winters going forward are a lot more like the one we just had, to make sure that we have less failures as we go along.
Yes, as a matter of fact, as soon as we approve the bid, we want to talk to you about a solution that we are proposing for some of the other dust abatement projects going forward. And so one thing that we want to bring to your attention is some information that we've gotten from some feedback on the bidding process for this road and some analysis that Mark and Schlegel and Associates has done for us. And I think we've got a more cost-effective solution that's in between the alternate and the base.
Probably want to hold that off though until after we award this bid, and then also so Commissioner Cos can come back into the room and be part of that discussion. But one of the reasons why we're recommending the asphalt alternate on this versus the chip seal is because of what you just brought up, Commissioner, and that is the chip seals didn't hold up with the winter like we've had. Now, we've been very fortunate for the last 7-8 years. We haven't had winters like that, and they've done just fine. But the reason we're recommending the asphalt is because they do hold up. They don't have the same issues that the chip seal ran into with winters like this. So that's why we're recommending the asphalt in this case, and what Mr. Spickelmeyer is referring to that we'll discuss once we get all the commissioners in the room.
Okay. Okay. All right. Any more questions for Mr. Spickelmeyer on this? Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to move that we accept Group 1 projects from the Dust Abatement Program, 174th Street, Kansas to Metro, Kansas Avenue, 166th Street to 178th Street, 166th Cantrell to Metro, Stillwell Road, 158th to 170th from Lexico, in the amount of $1,916,477.09. And that bid is a asphalt alternative.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Only discussion I have, Group 2 is out on the street right now for bid.
Group 2 and 3 are currently on the street.
Okay. All right.
Oh, they're not? Okay.
Because of the discussion today. We're holding them for the discussion today.
Well, they're ready to go.
They're ready to go?
They're absolutely ready
Just
to go.
Right.
we need some direction from today's meeting before we put them out.
Any other discussion?
You have something, Mike?
Maybe I'm just being a stickler. Do we have to have an authorize the chairman to sign in the motion? Okay, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Sorry.
All right, no further discussion. Voting?
Aye.
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 All right.
You want to bring Commissioner
Record, Commissioner Cos was not here voting.
Can I give these out, Mark? Can I give these
Yes.
out? So to move into the group 2 and 3 and discussions on alternate sections. So, and Mark could probably explain some of that better. Sure. We've gone into the feedback we got from the contractors was if we were to, instead of bidding 2 lifts of asphalt, which is what you need for a thicker section, there's a potential that we can do what's called a base stabilization with cement or fly ash that gets mixed into the existing road base and then use 1 4-inch asphalt section, which is 1 pass only, which is going to allow the contractor to both go faster because they don't have a multi-step process for the 2 lifts of asphalt, as well as pave a little bit later into the season than a typical chip seal. Because for a chip seal, typically you need about 50 degrees and rising, and in an asphalt you can get by with 40 degrees and rising for your temperatures on the day. So you've extended the season a little bit longer, which, you know, as everyone is aware, we had a very tough winter. A lot of freeze-thaw cycle that had just absolutely damaged a lot of pavement. So having a 4-inch asphalt section is going to provide a lot more impermeability to the surface, as well as just give a better driving surface in general. And we anticipate it is going to be more cost-effective than our alternate that we had used to date.
Okay. I just have one question before we get into this. What happened to the PRP roads? On January 18th, 2019, PRP was supposed to be in these groups, except for 219th, and it said it'd be completed by our county crews. I understand it's going to be a little difficult for our county crews with the winter we had, but I thought we moved PRP to the top to get that program off the books. And they're not in any of these groups.
I think I actually had a conversation with you last week about this, Commissioner, and good time to discuss it now. You were correct. There was the discussion. There was direction given. Over the last month before Mr. Spickelmeyer came on, I was filling in the Public Works Department to I'm not going to say cover because that was a lot of work, but to do my best to try to keep them on track, and I think their staff did a great job. But one of the things I did identify in working with Mr. Brewer at Schlegel and Associates, those projects were not passed off to his firm for review. I think that probably with the change in leadership downstairs, they were looking at trying to do some of that in-house, and that was not the direction given by the commission, so I don't know why they went that route. But once I identified that, Mr. Spickelmeyer and I had that conversation first thing when he came on. I had already been in discussions with Mr. Brewer about adding it. It has been added to their list of tasks. At this point, they're working on it with the other projects. So there is a delay from January till now when the direction was given. I don't have any, I don't have a good reason why the staff at the time decided not to move it forward at that time, but it has been addressed at this point.
I'm not either, because the board directed them to, and if staff refused to do it, I got a real problem with it.
I think it was actually said that they should be the priorities on those lists during that meeting. And so we've identified it, and it has been moved over, and they are in the process of review at this point.
Well, and on 219th specifically, Mark, you had some.
Yeah, the preliminary plans for 219th Street are completed, the deficiency reviews, preliminary reviews done, and so that project, pending comments from the counties, can move forward this year likely. One advantage to that as well in getting that on a more accelerated path is we have publicly bid these unit prices, so it may be possible for the county to just use some of these already publicly bid unit prices to award that project.
Mike, my question would be, and maybe it's more fair for Mark or the group, I don't know. Where do we draw the line as to what we allow our staff, like what we can handle internally versus what we contract out to Schlegel? I mean, maybe everything has to go out.
Well, for the deficiency review process, that all has to go out because of because what we're doing with the deficiency review is basically addressing any problems that could come up and then using signage or small modifications, because this is not the engineering firm to review it and sign off on it for coverage for the county. As far as construction goes, we have typically tried to have our crews come in and do some of the work that they could, especially in the chip seal process, because of the experience that they have, and they do probably a better job than any of the contractors that we could bring in. Unfortunately, with the winter that we had, they're going to be very busy just trying to maintain or bring back to spec the roads that we already have. So one of the, I think 219th being one of them that we originally identified that the county crews were going to do, we're probably going to recommend we move that over to putting it out with one of the phases, because we're not going to be able to get to it this year with our county crews.
Just to, again, I'm sure it's just for my education, everybody else understands, but we'll contract with Schlegel as the engineering group to lessen our liability, yet we'll do the work on the road, in which case we're still liable if it fails.
It's a review process, so the review is for different liabilities than the failure of the road. They're not taking on the failure of the responsibility for the failure of a road if it doesn't work out. They're taking on the safety. They're reviewing the safety, the design, so on.
And we're providing you a list of the issues, and for your knowledge, and for your record, and we're not doing any geometric design, so we can't own that liability. That's the county's liability. We're identifying the liability.
They're helping us.
Fix it with signage.
Right. So the construction portion of it, though, our crews do chip seal roads. They go out and do maintenance roads. It's something they're very used to doing. It's not, we don't bid it out because we don't want the liability if it doesn't hold up or it fails. We bid it out because we don't have the staff to do 6 miles of new road in 1 year. And this case is going to be like 19 to 20 miles, depending upon in 1 year. We just don't have the staff. That's why we bid it out. And when it's an asphalt product, like what we're bidding right now, that's another one. Our crews don't really do the asphalt. We bring that in and have somebody else do it. So,
and it also help with doing asphalt with our maintenance cycles on our chip seal.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We've got a small window of opportunity for our crews to do the chip seal.
And that's the other thing, that with these roads that we have done, the first 2 lifts are done that first year with the chip seal, if you do them in chip seal, but then you got to come back and do another lift, which is typically our crews have to go out and do it. So that's another reason why we're recommending the asphalt. But our crews do a great job. Again, on the chip sealing, I would say there's probably not a vendor out there that would do better than our guys can do. But we also have other roads to maintain, and we have to get out and reapply on the ones that are up for maintenance this year. So the approach going forward, and we haven't always had the money that we have right now because of the sales tax. So we try to do as much as we can internally and save as much as possible. But the approach with these going forward is to get as many of them done as possible. To do that, we're bidding them out.
And back to the PRP, you had 174th Street south of State to Evans. It was a PRP. When we're talking about mobilization of a contractor, you're going to have a contractor on 174 south of Evans working. Do you have 174th on the deficiency review south of State?
They would have just received the PRP ones. They would have just received those.
Okay. How long does it take to do the review?
Well, typically we have to go out and survey it, so the center line, and we can make priorities for certain stretches as opposed to having to do several miles. But
I think if the board directed that to be done, I think that is a priority.
Yeah, I agree with that. I want to be sure they didn't direct. This is not a failing of.
No, I don't mean your company.
Yeah.
I don't mean your company. I know that you've done everything that we've sent to you, and I appreciate that. But no, I didn't mean that. I meant whoever dropped the ball.
Sure.
It was on the county level, and I think it becomes a priority then. But that's just my opinion. There's 4 more opinions up here. I mean,
I don't have the formal list in front of me, but I believe 174th Street that you explained is on Group 3. So it'll be out with this next group.
Okay.
The first one that you were talking about is in Group 3, so it'll be out for bid. We'll be getting the quantities. So if in the meantime, if the PRP program gets the deficiencies reviews done, we could approach whoever receives that bid and ask them to include that in their unit pricing.
Because I just know all the folks on them roads worked really hard to come in under the wire to get these done. And they were pretty much told they were going to happen this year.
I don't think we told them they were going to happen. We told them we would prioritize them because we knew there would be some that might not get done.
Prioritize means top to me.
Well, but again, I think we very specifically in those meetings told them we couldn't guarantee they would be done this year, but that they would be in these first phases.
Well, let me see. Let me read this briefing report. Let's see. They would be done. Public Works would advertise bid 1, 2, and 3, except 2/19 will be completed by Public Works staff in 2/19. That's the briefing.
219th. Yeah, I understand that.
In 209. We are in year 219 right now, or 2019.
For 219th Street.
For 219th Street.
Yeah.
There's too many 2s and 9s.
Coincidence.
Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, Schlegel's got 219th.
I think that's still a possibility, especially with this other section, this alternate section. We basically picked up about 30 to 45 days of construction window if we go to this alternate asphalt section.
You know, the design on that section was made a priority. The other ones in the PRP were still, Schlegel is doing their review, but, you know, to say that
if he's got that in writing, then that should definitely be done.
I will do everything within my capabilities.
Like I said, Mr. Spiegelmeyer's been here 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Sorry to hit you with both barrels, but, you know, I know you're capable of cleaning up messes. I guess that's what we all do. But
you know, we're absolutely working to move that one forward. I think there are some alternatives that we might be able to achieve to still accomplish that goal. I'm not as optimistic on the other ones. 219th is unique in that it's actually
it's completed.
Yeah,
so.
I've got it's essentially ready to go, and
maybe
I guess maybe to caveat that, to expedite it, I do think that it needs to be considered as part of our dust abatement program, meaning that we would want to likely amend a contract after we get all our bids in. Because the county shop, when we were working on this, the deterioration of the existing roadway network and the necessity for maintenance this year is a little bit greater than I think we had originally anticipated. You know, the county shop could surely, we could reprioritize if we needed to and get 219th, but I think the best product going forward, again, as we discussed a little bit, was I have a lot of optimism about the section that Schlegel, and they worked with the geotechnical firm, and just the feedback we've gotten from the contractors. I think the product that we're going to provide with this section exceeds what a typical triple chip seal would provide.
Right.
So,
I agree.
Mike, with that, and maybe you guys haven't done this analysis, or maybe you have. If we go to this new application, if we had originally budgeted for 18 or 20 miles worth of road, but we're assuming additional cost, my guess is that means we're doing less, right?
Well, but we also budgeted, as you can see by the alternate, we also budgeted the alternate pricing as well. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to see some cost savings from the asphalt. There is the potential, I mean, we're going to know more when we bid. When we actually bid, we're going to have numbers that are going to be able to forecast even more so. I mean, if we are concerned that by...
I mean, it looks like most of these alternates are 30 to 50% more, right, than what the base bid was.
Currently, but with this new section, there's a chance that we're going to get even closer.
Okay.
Actually,
we're somewhere between the two base, the base and the current alternate. With this new alternate section, we'll land somewhere between those two.
And when we consider the follow-on cost, if we could put this down and not have to do a lot of repairs as often,
sure,
I think cost savings wise would be even more beneficial from an operation and maintenance.
Well, no, and I'm not arguing the upfront expense versus the savings over time, but there's no sense doing roads 2 or 3 times, right? If you're saving money now just to go back and fix them, I totally get it.
Absolutely.
I just was wondering how much less we're going to be able to accomplish, which is, again, better long term. Not having that argument. I just wanted to understand.
Maybe now is the best time for them to present this new, what came out of this last bid process with talking to some of the contractors. Present it to the board, make sure that y'all are comfortable with that process going forward, so that then we can bid it out and then we'll get some true numbers. Because you have an alternate right now that was the 2 lifts of asphalt at 1.9 million, and then the chip seal, which was 1.3 million. So about $100,000 per mile difference. We think that with this new process, which still gets us the asphalt, not a chip seal product, it's an asphalt product, we'll hit somewhere in between those, which brings it down to around that 50,000 maybe per mile difference, which then that's that's not a decision that anybody, I would think, would balk at, but because of the ongoing maintenance and the durability of the product.
And
I just want to make sure that we're talking about something that we haven't even presented to you guys yet. They keep referring back to this, well, we have this new alternate. Let's let them present that so you understand it, and then we can have that discussion.
And also understand that if you look at our estimate, we really expected our base to come in at about 1.83 million, and our base came in at 1.3, and we expected, and so our alternate was almost equal to our base. So I think we're going to start seeing, if we maintain a competitive market, which is going on right now in the construction industry, we might even see additional cost savings just because the more.
So let's let Mr. Brewer present what came out of this last bid process and what we would like the board to approve as an alternate going forward.
Well,
but was not applied to this.
It wasn't applied to this specific one because we'd already put it out for bid. You can't change it at that time. We do, if this is approved, we would intend to go back to the vendor that we just awarded the bid to and see if they can do this same process and if there's a savings.
Okay.
So back up a little bit. Our current sections are the 8-inch AB3 or gravel section and then a double chip seal. So that's the base bid. Our current alternate section is a subgrade modification of tilling, compacting the existing roadbed, and then a 4-inch lift of base asphalt and then a 2-inch lift of surface asphalt on top of that. So that's the alternate section that you just approved today and awarded. So in talking with the contractors and other industry representatives on what what are some of the cost savings, what are the challenges with how we're bidding this, and just there's a value in that existing road bed that maybe we're not realizing. So the contractor has the effort of tilling and compacting that existing road bed in both the alternate and the current base. So what we worked with Terracon Consultants, a geotechnical engineer, and came up with an equivalent section to the 6 inches of asphalt on the compacted base, where while they're tilling that existing road bed, we add a chemical stabilization with either fly ash or Portland cement. And that's a pretty standard procedure for stabilizing subgrade. What we can do then is that step is done with that stabilization. That improves the structural coefficient of that road bed, and then we can reduce the asphalt to just 4 inches on top of that. With a 4-inch lip, we can do that in one paving train operation. So instead of having to pave 4 inches, come back and do another 2 inches on top of that, significantly reduces the labor and equipment and fuel required to get what we have determined with our subconsultant to be an equivalent pavement section to the 6-inch asphalt section. So we're really looking at apples and apples, one just being a more efficient construction process with adding one simple step during a process that we were already doing.
So my guess is this isn't new, it's just new to us.
Correct. Okay. So we had basically the county standard asphalt street section or dust patch section and the county standard chip seal section, dust patch section. And so with some feedback, we had from contractors and other people in the industry, we presented this to public works staff, and I think we got positive feedback during the bid process. One, that contractors feel this could save quite a bit. We could get somewhere, based on their investment, somewhere halfway between the current base bid and the current alternate bid.
Any other questions, Mr. Brewer?
I would just ask, any of the statistics or analysis that has been presented, will we see that?
Oh, absolutely. You'll get all the...
We have a letter from Terracon, it's a draft at this point, but basically stating that this is an equivalent section to the 6-inch asphalt on a compacted, non-chemically treated base.
But the financials will absolutely be, because they will be shown in the bids. So we'll be able to see apples. We'll be able to see, we should realize that, because all this stuff becomes public information once the new bids hit the street. So, and we can use that as for comparison.
Are you going to want to try to get any maintenance costs in there, information, Chad?
Well, I think you'd want to have it, yeah.
Like past year, past 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, my guess is there's
repair the road.
Plenty of these applications in surrounding counties, knowing where Terracon's located and everything else. So there ought to be some pretty good data to work from, right?
Oh, are you talking about the differential between the
maintenance cost difference between the three processes?
Yeah, I mean, we know the cost, right, internally for the base and the current alternate.
Right.
Now it's with this new application what the costs are. We've never done it, so we don't know it ourselves, right? So we're going to have to leverage other resources.
I think I understand what you're saying. What's the cost of this new section on a per unit price based on compared to the alternate? So,
sure.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing I'm trying to figure out is how well it's held up in the places it has been applied. Again, whether that's Johnson County or other surrounding counties, right?
So the scope of this contract, we're asking Terracon to basically make some generalizations and assumptions. We're trying to apply, there's really no detailed geotechnical analysis for the 33 miles of dust abatement projects that we currently have approved or authorized to complete. The cost of that would be staggering compared to the cost of just doing the work. And so there's some risk the county's taking on that standpoint too. So what we've asked them to do is, okay, essentially in a vacuum, if everything being equal, we have this road bed, and we compact this road bed this way, is this apples to apples comparison to a 6-inch asphalt section on a compacted subgrade? And so that's what they provided us with. I'm sure they would be happy to go analyze and bore, take a sample every 200 feet.
No, yeah, I understand. That's not equitable. At the same time, this road has been put down somewhere.
Absolutely.
And I'm guessing it wouldn't be hard to get those answers from who has done those roads, right?
And we have, so I don't know about other public works entities, and I'm sure Mike could utilize his resources to find that out, but we do have in writing from Terracon based on their experience, this is an equivalent section.
Okay.
You're asking some real-world application where somebody's gone with a base stabilization and put a 4-inch lift on it.
That would seem like a good idea.
And over a 2-year period with the new system, how much repairs have you done versus the roads that we've been putting down over the last 2-year period? How much repairs have
We're in a unique situation. I'm actually scheduled to go to the National Association of County Engineers Conference on Sunday to Tuesday. I will be back next Wednesday. One of the best things about these things is you can now sit down with guys that are doing this kind of work all over the country, and we've learned so much about the way they do things. I'd be more than happy to start kind of feeling out and see what other counties, what kind of experience they have. The best part is they're going to give you both the initial, and they'll also talk about lifespan cost, because typically, a chip seal, you really need to kind of reseal it every 3, maybe 4 years, depending on what's going on. An asphalt road, you can typically go 6, maybe 10, depending on the base. So I'll do some research, and I'll do some networking to figure out if others have had a similar type process and what their results have been.
County Road 1's made it a little longer than that.
It has, although I do believe it's needed it for a while. So
we already have the maintenance costs for the chip seal product. We have the maintenance costs for the 6-inch 2-lift asphalt product. We just need to get the maintenance cost for this new process, and that's what Mike can
answer. And after 2019, those numbers come up some.
Well, for chip seal, for sure.
I might add that, okay, so we're already authorized by this board to advertise the current asphalt section. And so time is a little bit of the essence to get these out. We've already kind of delayed this a little bit to advertise these. So just in this process, we'll take some time, I'm assuming. So I mean, there's no sense to be rushed. We're going to apply this over, obviously,
well, we could make a motion to just add that as an alternative bid.
Yes, that's what we were looking for today, is to be able to add that as an alternative bid. I think after we get this next group in, it might be just the 2 asphalts are our base and our alternate, and we could do away with the chip seal as a base, but for this next group, we're talking about doing the 3 processes.
Okay.
We just need the board's approval to add this as an alternate.
That would allow us to get it out the bid, and then we can, behind the scenes.
And we could add and we could add these PRP roads to this also?
Yes. Well, you don't need a motion for that. We already had that.
I know we already had it.
We've already got that added. We've already got that added, Commissioner. They're already in the process.
I'd like to make sure I understand for sure we're asking for the 3 sections. And at this point, we're going out for bid for Group 2 and Group 3 as previously published.
Yeah. Yes. And we will add 219th to whatever group fits best with that. And then since it's done, and then so then the PRPs, the other PRP projects will be added to the phases that they most appropriately fit with as they get done.
Mark, is the only reason we can't get Group 4 or 5 or, to Doug's point, the other PRPs out because of internal capacity? We haven't done what we need to.
They're still under review. I mean, they're going through the review process, so they're just not done. There's, I don't remember, 30 miles.
Sent to the review process back.
But it's 30 miles of road are under the review process. That's what they're working on. As they get them done, we're going out for bid on them. As soon as they're done, they'll go out for bid.
Okay. Is there a schedule that you guys have, Mark, that you can share?
Yeah. I mean, we have been providing weekly updates, or trying to, so.
Okay.
When do you anticipate that Group 3 coming up?
Well, that's going to go out for bid. 2 and 3 will go out for bid this week, probably, if we get your approval today on this alternate. And if we don't, it'll still go out for bid. And then that's a 30-day process, give or take, depending on when the days fall.
Okay. And do I understand correctly, we're adding the 219th to Group 3?
If that's the one it most likely falls into, yes, then that's where it should be.
So I might be towards the end of next week to get that buttoned up and added to that bid package. But we can do that. Okay. And you also have the ability with those bid unit costs to apply those to 219th Street.
Well, maybe that sounds like a very logical way to proceed, is to bid 2 and 3 as we already planned, and then we would amend into 219.
We'll resolve that between us. We just need to get approval on this alternate right now.
Okay. Any more questions? Mr. Brewer, Mr. Spickmeyer? Then I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve to put, what were they, group 2 and 3 out for bid, including the added alternate of a change in, what would we call it? The stabilized subgrade to the request.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Only discussion I have is PRP roads. Make sure that they get on this.
Absolutely.
Any further discussion? Voting?
Aye.
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 All right, motion passed.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Thank
Mark.
you. Any other business for the board?
I do have the other discussion I talked about that I wanted to wait to the end of the meeting. Work sessions. We have numerous work sessions that have been identified that the board would like to proceed with now that we have the full 5 commission. I have a couple of questions. One, I have so many I'm going to have to break them up. I can't do them all in one work session, obviously. So I might try to prioritize those a little bit with you today. 2, in the past we've discussed doing regular scheduled work sessions. So one week would be a regular meeting, then the next week would be a work session, then the next week would be a regular meeting, so that anything before it goes on a regular meeting agenda, it goes to a work session. The only exception to that would be consent agenda. So we'd have a consent agenda each week so we could approve bills and whatnot. But then after that, it would be a work session. So like, let's say this week's a regular meeting, next week would be work session only, and we'd bring any items that we're going to go to the board onto work sessions. So that's one process. The other process would be that we continue to have the weekly meetings, and that I add a work session somewhere maybe twice a month where we have work sessions. If we do that, because we never know how long the meetings are going to go, I would kind of like to schedule that either in an afternoon of our meeting day or on another morning, so they're not on the same days, because we're here for 2 hours right now. If I throw another 2-hour work session on you guys, you're going to yell at me. So I'd just like to work that out with you, what your thoughts are. Meeting, work session, or continue with the 4 meetings a month, and then I can fit the work sessions in someplace else. Which, do you guys have a preference on that approach?
My preference would be we do it the same day, but maybe in the afternoon. That's just my preference.
After lunch?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you continue with 4 meetings a month, and then add 2 work sessions a month.
Or however many work sessions you feel we need.
Okay.
On the same day as the meetings.
On the same days of the meeting.
I like that idea.
So will that work for the board?
I'm good with whatever you guys want to do.
Okay.
Whatever fits your guys.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's great. Everybody's already here.
I know we have a meeting this afternoon.
Yes, we do. That's why sometimes we need to make sure that we don't.
Well, but I don't think we normally have Wednesday meetings on this organization.
Did Jake have does?
I don't think so. It's not usually Wednesday.
No, this is kind of I think a unique meeting. Yeah. I don't know, and if we have it, like, I think that sometimes there's LCDC or something like that, but we can move it where we would be outside of that range, so we wouldn't interfere with that.
That's why I say if we can kind of look at what their schedule
Well,
is.
but
we can tell them.
their meetings are 11:30 to 1.
It's lunch, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So it wouldn't affect.
That's what I'm saying. I'd just do it in the afternoon, so we wouldn't impact those. So, okay.
Mark,
so,
I might recommend maybe doing it even weekly until everybody feels we can go every other week, right? So more frequent.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
I have no problem with that. I just want to make sure that the board's okay with those are long Wednesdays then potentially.
Sure.
That's fine.
And if I could comment on the prioritization, I think the planning commission, that should be at the top of our.
Well, they're on for next week already as far as discussion items, so that will be, that's already on. But the other items I have several. And if anybody has like a priority number one needs to get out there, certainly let me know. Otherwise, I will work them in as quickly as we can. I don't like putting these off any longer than we have to. It's just, again, I can't drop them all in one day. We had and I'll just go through the list that I had. The NACO, which is the National Association of Counties membership, is one of them. The elected officials' pay was one of them. Economic development policy, local service road policy, public comments, use permits potentially being approved at the staff level instead of having to come back to the board. The extension office was added, I think, last week. We added the extension office. The personnel manual update, that one I can kind of flex around, but I would like to get that done before May. And then the Planning and Zoning Commission makeup. Those were the ones that I had identified that we needed to have work sessions on. If anybody has any of those that they want to move forward, like within the next week, I just need to know. Otherwise, I'll just grab 3 or 4 of them and put them on next week.
You said Planning and Zoning was going to be...
They're on already. That one's already on. So, and because we need that, we need to know how that's going to get resolved. So, and they had another issue that needs to come up anyway, so.
Okay.
I'd like to get the elected pay out of the way.
I'd like to see us make a decision, one way or the other, on what we want to do with the extension. Whether we want to keep it local or have it go regional, as a regional.
So ask them if they can come in and give their presentation again.
And public comment, we should probably get done pretty quick. Is that where we're deciding?
Going from 3 to 5 minutes.
So, yeah, I mean, since we're
That's
having
not
meetings.
a big deal.
Yeah.
We could
get it over
take
with.
care of that. And when you're talking about the extension, were you going to invite Atherson? Would that be the district they would?
Well, that would be the ones we would combine with, but I think that the extension office individuals could come in and at least give the new commissioners the
Right,
information
yeah,
that they have
absolutely,
on-
absolutely. And the extension council board members?
Right.
Okay.
Wyandotte County still have an extension department? Because we were combined with them before.
Have to check, Commissioner.
Okay.
It's never been regional, and this is, have you had you've had the update on what that would, yeah, so it's getting our fellow commissioners up to speed on what is proposed.
I just didn't know, since Wyandotte became unified government, I don't know what happened to their extension department. If they even have one.
I imagine the mill levy portion of it would be a little higher than Atherson's.
I have that information in my office.
I got it too. I mean, because we discussed it before.
Right.
It might be lower.
Okay.
Okay. So I have 4 that you've listed off here that would be, you think should move forward maybe quicker than some of the other ones. So I'll schedule those 4 for sure for next week. And then we'll work the other ones in as we can.
All right. I had a question, and I know Mr. Joseph's not here, but Commissioner Culberson had made a comment about a non-buildable lot on that Fink Farm subdivision, and asked about selling it, and it said they would work with people to.
Yeah, I was going to follow up with them some more to see if the Fink developer still owns the adjacent lot to that, and maybe before we allow them to go ahead with the other lot that we already actually approved, though, have them do something with this other, because I don't understand how they passed a subdivision with a non-buildable lot in this day and age. You know, I can see how it happened a long time ago, but with everything we've, got in place now, fail-safe and, how plats are approved, I don't quite understand. Now, I know it was before any of the staff that we have now.
Okay.
It was done before.
Yeah, the original subdivision was approved in the 90s?
Yeah, like 90, 91.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was later than that. But it doesn't matter. But I'm saying, what you said would work with them. Can't anybody just buy a non-buildable lot?
You can buy it, you just won't get a building permit.
That's what I'm saying. So what's there to work with?
Well, if the developer has this lot that was approved by the county, it's a dead lot.
It needs to be combined with an existing lot that is buildable.
Well, I mean, okay, so why couldn't you combine it without?
They could, well, the property owner has to petition to do that. The county can't do it, but they could.
I mean, is that going to require a replat? It's going to cost more to go through the process and the property's actually worth? Or can you just buy it and have it attached?
Yes, you could own, as long as you didn't build across the property line.
Yeah.
You could definitely own both pieces of property, and you could put your playground set or whatever over there.
Plant a garden in it, or
I suppose they could actually build
a
garage out
and I wasn't so
but it just needs to be somebody who already has a buildable lot would have to own it in order to.
Well, even if somebody else.
Yeah.
Even if somebody else bought it and you had an easement.
They have a garden on it right now.
And you had an easement to it, as long as the easement was recorded.
And it's got street frontage. Yeah, it's got street frontage. But my concern wasn't so much with that lot itself. My concern was, don't do that again.
Right.
You know, how did that happen, and make sure we don't do that again. And the way it happened was, it passed all the county regulations and rules, but somebody didn't talk to KDOT and ask about their line of sight rules. So when they platted this out and they got done and approved, KDOT, when somebody came in to get a building permit, you have to get a state driveway permit because it's on a state highway.
Right.
And the state said, no, we're not going to give you a driveway permit. And that's what made it a non-buildable lot. So my question was to them, make sure you guys are talking to KDOT when you're doing these plats.
Well, and we do have that process in place now. Back in the 90s, obviously, they didn't. But
yeah, and that's all I was wanting to do.
Anything that touches a KDOT road, we send it over to them for their feedback. Anything within a certain distance of a city, we send it to the cities for their feedback.
Yeah.
Fire districts get it for their feedback. So we do hit all of the entities
But I guess my question was, what did it mean by we will work with the people to buy it or attach it or whatever? Do you have to go through the whole planning commission, or can you just buy it and it's a non-buildable lot?
Yeah, they could do that. What my question was, if Fink Acres still owns the adjacent lot to it, tell them, sell it together, don't split it out. But we can't make them do that.
But if they do buy it and they say, oh, well, it doesn't meet the ratio on depth and width and all that, does that create a problem?
Maybe. Yeah, and that's why I'm saying it's too late to do anything about that.
Right, I know.
And somebody can buy it, put a garden on it, or if they own the adjacent property. If they wanted to build in the middle of the two, then it would take a replat to get rid of the lot.
I know, but then it's cost more.
If they wanted to put the house where the lot line is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you put a house and say this property owner gave you an easement for a driveway, and the easement's recorded.
You can't build with an easement.
Yeah, but you got frontage on. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like I said, we just need to pass a common sense policy that supersedes any other policies.
Yeah.
You know, I think that would fix some things.
And I think that now they do. That was my question in planning and zoning. Is one of your steps to check with KDOT before you approve a plat? And he said yes. So that was my whole point.
Okay. Doug, we need a motion on that common sense.
I'll accept one. I'll entertain a motion on a common sense policy that supersedes all other county policies.
Sounds like it died for lack of second.
Died of lack of common sense. Huh?
Well, speaking of common sense, something I wanted to bring up was the issue of, I have a friend that's a county councilor for Sedgwick County, and when I got elected this, he was visiting with me, and he said...
Probably laughing at you.
He said, you guys need to protect yourself liability-wise, and he suggested that we raise our quorum from 3 to 4. Currently, like when I was on the township board, we had 3. You can't discuss anything amongst yourselves. That's currently where it stands right now. The thing is, like Chad and I, we're going to the sheriff, and we're going to all these departments, we're visiting, we're learning about what's going on. That could possibly be construed as a violation of the Open Meetings Act, and
as long as you do it before you were sworn in.
Well, right, and we haven't done that, but the thing is, he said that it would be a protection for you as a board, just the appearance, you know, if you raise your quorum. So two members if they interview?
I just assumed, and I know assumption's life's lowest form of intelligence, that once we got 5 commissioners, we raised our quorum. But I think this is a county councilor question.
Right.
Commissioners, the previous state law that defined what constitutes a public meeting subject to the Open Meetings Act referenced a majority of a quorum, which I think, quite frankly, was a common understanding to achieve the purpose of the Open Meetings Act. The legislature subsequently amended the definition to no longer read a majority of a quorum, but a majority of the membership. So under that interpretation, with a 5-member commission, 2 members can meet. I would suggest if the board is interested in looking at one, obviously compliance with the Kansas Open Meetings Act, and 2, whether you wish to change what constitutes a quorum, which in this case would be 3. Staff would be happy to look into that for you and try to get something to you in the very near future on both topics. As far as the Kansas Open Meetings Act, Commissioners, I will look to see what training is available for you and, quite frankly, all the commissioners and myself and other county officials who are affected by it, because it never hurts to be reminded of various things and what may be the most current interpretation of the act by the Kansas Attorney General's office. But the statute clearly changed from majority of a quorum to majority of membership. So at this point in time, I can only offer that 2 of you can meet without violating the Open Meetings Act. If my understanding is correct, the issue might be, what would the board wish to consider to be a quorum? Would it be 3 or 4? You can't go to 2. And whether the board as a policy, just by your consensus, would feel that the majority of membership should, which is the standard, should be controlling as opposed to majority of quorum.
So you would report back to us on that, and we can make a decision?
Yes, Commissioner, I'll look into it, and I think if my understanding is correct, those are the 2 issues.
Okay. Any other questions on that? Okay. We have any other business for us? I think Commissioner Cause and myself are going to go to the JCAB meeting this afternoon at 2, Justice Center, correct? Okay.
Mental Health Task Force meeting is moved from tomorrow to Friday because the meeting tomorrow for the
LCDC. Yes, that's right. That's tomorrow. It's down at the Riverfront Community Center. That annual meeting.
And I was going to ask about the Kansas Association of Commissioners.
Conference coming up?
Yeah.
It's at the end of this month.
We decided not to join that, but I thought we should maybe send one of our members to that. And is that what you were talking about going to, Vicki? To find out more about it?
Okay. Is anybody else going to attend that?
But if one of the others would rather attend, I'd be more than happy to switch out and let them. So
did you sign to?
I've only signed Commissioner Cause.
Okay.
Commissioner Stevens said he
couldn't. Yeah.
And that's Association of Commissioners. Or
wasn't the deadline April 9th?
That's county.
I said, but I would be willing to, if Commissioner Shimke was interested in going just to get the information and then to just get meeting some of the other commissioners and things.
Well,
it's Junction City. I know that Becky could just change the names.
Well, I stand corrected. I thought this was the Commissioners Association, but it's the counties.
Don't they typically?
Kansas Association of Counties.
Counties.
Right.
Okay, never mind. I remember that.
So I just, if you would be interested, Becky, I'm sure that she can just change the name on the registration if you'd rather go, because it's a good opportunity to also meet some of the other commissioners that from like-sized counties. And
I'm sure they would let us add an additional one, even though the deadline's passed. We could still add an additional one if more than one wants to go.
It'd be worth going. Okay. Yeah, you'll learn a lot about it.
Do base stabilization too.
If you just want to make sure and let Becky know, she'll get you
I'll follow up
all
with
the
Becky.
information signed up.
Okay.
I'm sure Commissioner Cos can still attend if you want to.
Right?
No. It's like Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
You know, we'd have to change our meeting.
Tuesday,
day that
Wednesday?
week.
Okay.
I think it's Tuesday,
Which
Wednesday.
weekend?
I think it's Tuesday, Wednesday.
to Thursday, isn't it?
Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Usually come back Thursday at noon.
Right.
So,
Okay. So you
I'll
plan
follow
to
up
attend?
with it. Yeah, I just need to look
Okay.
at the dates
Alright.
and get with Vicki, but yeah,
Alright.
I'll do that.
You learn a lot by osmosis at most of those conferences.
And then I'm assuming we have people going to Kansas County Highway Association, correct?
Yes, Mike's
Okay.
got him and
All right.
his staff
We
are
need to
going.
attend them conferences, they're pretty important. Okay, does anybody else have anything they want to shout out about?
Tomorrow is the Child Abuse Prevention Council breakfast,
6:30 in the morning?
6:30 in the
We'll
morning.
be there. We'll be your servers. To
9:30.
6:30 to 9:30 at 10 Penny. Good breakfast. So, and I can't think of anything else. I didn't write anything else down. And that's at 6:30 in the morning. We'll be there. And anything else? And a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, we're adjourned.